Tonight on 12 News, a Holmes County man is behind bars, now facing capital murder charges for the death of his girlfriend's toddler. Hear from the sheriff on a crime he says, quote, jails are made for.
Plus, city and state leaders meet at the Capitol as they work on potential solutions to Jackson's crime crisis.
And the state legislature is working through their to-do list for 2022. We have the latest on bills from medical marijuana, redistricting, and getting rid of the state income tax. Good evening and welcome to 12 News at 10. I'm Byron Brown.
And I'm Melanie Christopher. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. All those stories and more coming up. But first, there is a large police presence on Highway 49 headed towards Richland. Here's a look at the scene from an MDOT camera in the area right now. We can confirm that 49 southbound is shut down here. 12 News, Gary Burton Jr. headed to the scene right now. We will let you know what's going on as soon as we know. Now, we're going to send things over to Ken South for a look at the weather.
Right, it's going to be another cold night. We do have a few clouds coming in. That's going to keep our temperatures in the mid-30s overnight. Notice the dew point number has also come up. So I think we're going to see these numbers match first thing in the morning, and that could mean a little bit of patchy frost at sunrise for tomorrow. Again, mid-30s, partly cloudy overnight. Then tomorrow is going to be another mostly sunny day and a little bit warmer than the past couple of days. I think we'll be in the lower to mid-60s for highs. So great weather tomorrow, but it's all going to come to an end over the weekend with rain and even colder weather. You'll see the 8-day forecast in 16 minutes.
A Holmes County man is in jail and facing capital murder and child abuse charges following the death of a 3-year-old child.
12 News' Anthony Howard joins us now with what led to the charge. Anthony?
Timothy Sandifer was arrested and initially charged with child abuse following the death of 3-year-old Jordan Hill. The last Thursday, the toddler was discovered under a blanket covered in bruises. According to authorities, Jordan Hill arrived at a local hospital cold and unresponsive. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. An autopsy determined the 3-year-old died from blunt force trauma, resulting in Sandifer's charges being upgraded to capital murder. Holmes County Sheriff Willie March is calling this a heinous crime.
I saw a kid before he was deceased, but I never saw one had these kind of bruises from his head, all over his face, all over his body, all over his side. I mean, it's just ridiculous, you know, this person did, this kid, and you know, that's what justice, I guess, jails are made for, so I'll just leave it at that.
The toddler's mother, Amanda Hill, was allegedly asleep at the time her boyfriend, Timothy Sandifer, allegedly beat the child to death. This is still an ongoing investigation. The Holmes County Sheriff said 2 other children were in the home with signs of abuse as well and have been since taken to live with their grandmother. Sheriff Marsh says DHS is still looking into this case to determine whether or not the mother should face charges of her own. Mel, Byron, back to you.
Thank you, Anthony. An early morning house fire leaves the Vicksburg community devastated after an elderly woman is killed. 89-year-old Opal Evans died in that fire while her husband was rushed to the hospital with severe burns. The Vicksburg Fire Department says smoking in the bedroom caused the fire.
In the Pine Belt, the search is on for this woman. Ashley Collier is accused of taking off with her 1-year-old son, whom she does not have custody of. A court issued that Child Protective Services received custody of the boy after the 1-year-old tested positive for methamphetamines. If you have any information on where she may be, please contact the Forest County Sheriff's Department.
A Yazoo County teen is in the hospital tonight after he was thrown from his vehicle after a short chase with deputies. The 17-year-old was a runaway from a foster care home. Deputies say that the teen was driving the wrong way and almost hit them head on. Shortly afterwards, he crashed while trying to get away from deputies. We're told the teen was awake and talking when he was transported.
A Jackson man accused of shooting and killing a pregnant woman has been denied bond. Daniel Jones was taken into custody yesterday. The shooting happened Sunday evening. Police say he shot 20-year-old Brianna Carter multiple times. She was 8 months pregnant. She later died at the hospital.
Well, crime is already leaving its mark in Jackson for 2022, which leads leaders to another discussion on how to get it solved. 12 News' Gary Burton Jr. sat in on the meeting.
Today, Jackson Police Chief James Davis and Mississippi Department of Public Safety Commissioner Sean Tindall expressed their needs to make a safer city to Hinds County legislators.
And our primary needs now, of course, is technology.
Additional personnel for Capitol Police.
Sitting at 72 Capitol policemen, Commissioner Tindall is looking to increase that number to 150. He says the challenge is competing with private businesses to get people to join the team.
You're trying to compete to get young people to join the law enforcement ranks, and salary's an issue, morale's an issue. You look at some of the complaints against law enforcement, not just in our state, but particularly outside of Mississippi. It has not been a very attractive profession.
To the point where currently both departments, Capitol Police and JPD, are working together, and some officers working part-time for both. With the shortage in policing, JPD Chief James Davis says the needs for his department are virtual policing, particularly cameras. Davis says putting cameras in South Jackson reduced crime by 51%.
As we're tracking crime now, we're seeing a lot of the crimes moving from the area where we have the cameras more north. So I want to be able to provide cameras to those areas that we don't have cameras.
Which Davis says is the #1 request he's heard from neighborhood associations over the years. That's why he's also expressing the need for the G-Tech in-car video systems for officers,
which allow the officers to see the scene with the cameras on the pole, and our real-time command center, the officers can actually see the scene before they actually drive to the scene.
And Commissioner Tindall says the Department of Public Safety is working to combine their dispatch offices with MBI, Highway Patrol, and Capitol Police to have all divisions able to respond to calls in the Capitol District. He anticipates that will be ready around the start of 2023. In Jackson, I'm Gary Burton Jr., 12 News.
Now we turn to a 12 News update as we learn more about the tragic death of a construction worker in the city of Jackson. The victim has been identified as 33-year-old Matthew Miller. The Hinds County coroner tells 12 News Miller died of asphyxiation after a trench he was digging collapsed and buried him under 20 feet of debris. He was working at the Village at Livingston Place project, which city leaders broke ground on in October.
It is the second week of the 2022 legislative session, and the main issue on many Mississippians' minds this year is medical marijuana. Now, a Senate subcommittee has unanimously passed a bill over the issue. Tomorrow, the full Senate will vote on the Mississippi Medical Cannabis Act. The state's Department of Health would run the proposed program, which would require people to go through a face-to-face consultation to qualify for a prescription. Marijuana advocates are rejoicing, and they say the people's will from the 2020 election is finally being realized.
Oh gosh, we're elated. We're so excited. We're ready for this vote tomorrow. We knew that when it came down to it, our legislature would do exactly what they needed to do to support the voice of the people, and here we are seeing it happen.
Under the proposed bill, counties, municipalities would have the option to opt out of the medical marijuana program as long as they do so within a 90-day period of the bill's passage.
Another major issue lawmakers are tackling is redistricting. Today, the state Senate officially passed the same redistricting plan, which was approved by the House of Representatives last week. Now, the bill heads to Governor Reeves' desk, where he's expected to sign it into law. The Republican-backed bill makes significant changes to the 2nd and 3rd districts, moving the southwest corner of the state into District 2. That means the representative for Adams, Wilkinson, Amite, and Franklin counties may soon change from Michael Guest to Benny Thompson. But not everyone's on board. The NAACP and ACLU supported a different redistricting bill. They say the redistricting process needs more transparency.
Us having to go to the push and pull on these issues is not new. The courts drew our districts, congressional districts, in 2011 because the legislature couldn't get it right. And so now when we look at this opportunity what's before us, we'll review and see what's there and see what opportunities we may be able to find remedy for citizens of Mississippi.
The NAACP's preferred bill would have put the entire city of Jackson into Benny Thompson's district. Right now, Congressman Michael Guest represents parts of Belhaven, Fondren, and Northeast Jackson, while Congressman Thompson represents the rest of the city. Byron?
Well, Health Speaker Philip Gunn says that his top priority this legislative session is eliminating the state income tax. And today, the House passed a bill which would accomplish this by setting a higher sales tax on many other items. It's similar to a bill which passed the House last year but died in the Senate. Under the proposed plan, the income tax would be eliminated and taxes on groceries would be reduced from 7% to 4%, while the general sales tax, as well as sales taxes on alcohol and electronic purchases, such as music, video games, and cell phone apps, would jump from 7% to 8.5%. For more information on the proposed plan, head on over to our website. It's WJTV.com. Mel?
Now we turn to the coronavirus, Byron, where new COVID cases across the state are continuing to skyrocket. Here's a look at cases reported every day since the start of the pandemic. The daily case totals from the Omicron spike are much higher than at any other time over the past 2 years, even dwarfing the Delta variant surge. Now we're getting a better look at the toll the virus is taking on schools across the state. Last week, nearly 4,000 Mississippi students missed class due to the virus affecting more than 600 schools in 66 different counties. Schools haven't been under a mask mandate since the spring of 2020, and pediatric vaccination rates remain low. Only 5% of children ages 5 to 11 and 36% of kids ages 12 to 17 are fully vaccinated.
Well, here in Jackson, J-Tran riders should expect route closures and delays due to a worker shortage. City leaders say that the neighbors who use J-Tran, they should check their rider alert notifications for updates on available bus routes. There is a link to check those notifications on our website. It's WJTV.com.
And coming up, your winning Cash 3 and Powerball numbers. That's after the break.
But first, here's Ken with your forecast. Ken?
All right, the weather's been great all week long. I think that's going to continue right through the end of this week, but we're going to see some big changes over the weekend. It includes rain Saturday and much colder weather Sunday, maybe even a snow flurry early that day. You'll see the 8-day forecast up next. You're watching 12 News.
And welcome back. Before we go, let's head back out to Highway 49 where traffic is blocked due to a major police presence.
Well, this is Gary Burton Jr. is live at the scene. And Gary, what have you found out so far?
Yeah, you guys, this is the aftermath of this 18-wheeler accident that started with a police chase. Now, I spoke with William Thompson Jr., the chief of Brandon Police, and he says that this started with a traffic stop. They don't know at this time why the 18-wheeler driver fled the scene. As you can see, it's nothing but cement blocks, nothing illegal that was on this 18-wheeler. So they're trying to figure out why the driver fled from this traffic stop. Now, what he tells us is that the driver sustained no injuries and has already been taken into custody. Several agencies, several officers was involved in this chase, and no officers were injured as well. We're going to continue to follow this investigation and keep you updated with the latest as we receive it. I'm going to send it back to you now, Byron and Mel.
All right, Gary, thank you for that information. Now let's get a final check on that forecast now with Chief Meteorologist Ken South.
All right, here's a look at our next 8 days. The weather will stay nice through the end of this week, but on Saturday, we'll see about an inch of rain. As a cold front moves through, we will see cloudy, breezy, cold weather Sunday, maybe a few flurries before the precipitation comes to an end early Sunday, and then we're back to sunshine early next week. But it's going to be a cool Martin Luther King Day. Lows will be near freezing, highs only in the low 50s.
All right, thank you. And we thank you so much for joining us tonight at 10.
All right, make it a good night, everyone.